5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fire. The only thing we have to fear is fear.
Mile 18.
This is Endurance Nation.
Resource alert. Hey, do you struggle to be consistent with your training? Do you have high aspirations, but they don't turn into reality when you're there on the ground training? Are you finding that your fitness goes up and down just like every time you hop on the scale? It's not because you're poorly organized, not because you don't have the energy or the motivation. It's because you don't have the right habits in place. The most successful athletes that we have worked with over the past 17 years have built a lifestyle of habits that empower them to stay on track with their training and keep them going through the highs and the lows. You need something beyond motivation to keep you going, and that's what our habits are for. You can access some of these key habits. Take the framework, take the template and the scripts, use it in your own life. You can get it for free online if you go to endurancenation.us/habits. Download the PDF resource, get up to speed quickly. It's not you, it's your habits. And we've got the fix.
Endurance Nation.
Hey everyone, Coach Patrick here from Endurance Nation, back with another Coach podcast, and this time a special race weekend edition. I don't always get to talk to people before they go off to the races, but this is one of those opportunities. Inside the team this weekend, we'll have athletes racing in distances anywhere from 10 miles in a road race up to 200 miles in an ultra race. In between that, we've got Ironman athletes, both long course and short course, and other races as well. The team has diversified over the years, and as lead coach, it's obviously challenging. We have different training plans, we have different groups, it's all there. But the best part about how we operate for both athletes and for us as staff is our frameworks that we use to make sure that people stay on track. And none is more important than our 4 keys of race execution framework. This has guided us over the course of the year since 2009 when it was first created through today, over 15 years of race execution experience. And the reason why we emphasize race execution is because it's not about your performance on the day that matters. It's not about the time on the clock. It's about the type of race you put together. If you execute well, whether you're super fit or just having super fun, you can still have a fantastic race for you. There are plenty of fit people who have bad races. There are plenty of people who are untrained who have great races. And the difference between those two groups at either end of the spectrum is their ability to actually assemble the race. Race day shows up, there's no instructions, you have an objective, and there's plenty of obstacles in your way. Weather, competition, your own body, nutrition, mental toughness, many different factors come into play. And across the course of the day, you have to solve countless problems to get yourself from the beginning to the end in the best situation possible. Now, in order to do that, there's lots of different strategies you can follow. Some people call race day just a big catered day of training and have fun. Other people look at race day and it's all about how fast can you go and demonstrate how fast you are. Inside Endurance Nation, we use the 4 keys of race execution to make sure that we stay on track. And the way that we do this is to understand the fact that race day is about execution, not fitness. So we take the fitness side off of the equation and we say, you know what, I'm going to go out here and I've got to put together the best possible race. What are all the things that I need in order to put together a race? So as I speak to you today, before your race weekend, I want you to step back from the performance aspect, step back from what we call the Ricky Racer aspect, trying to optimize for the best speed. We've got to make it to this top of this hill first. We've got to get to this turn first. If I don't get out of the water at this time, then I'm disconnected. All of those ego-driven, negative outcome-oriented decision-making processes that you're instilling in your race day operating system, we have to take them out. Instead, we need to recognize that every race has 2 components to it that are really important. There's the components that happen before things matter and the components that happen after things matter. And the difference between those 2 positions on the race course is what we call the line. And your job is to get to the line in the best possible condition on race day so that once you hit it, you can actually do your racing. Okay, inside Endurance Nation, we talk a great deal about how, depending on the length of your event, racing is simply about not slowing down. So as you go through this process, it's not about who can get to the line fastest. People mistakenly think the line is the finish line. That's not the line that we're talking about. The line is where things get hard. The line is where the The race itself, through conditions, through exertion, through competition, separates out the people who are really racing, who continue on past the line, and the people who thought they were racing, but are actually, turns out, are not racing, right? These are the people who pass you early in the race, whom you pass later on there walking or on the side of the road or have stomach distress or whatever those are. Those are the people who thought they were racing. In order to enter the second half of the race in a race ability situation, you have to make good, smart, concerted decisions early. And we do that by staying focused on the things that we can control. We can focus our pacing, we can focus our nutrition, we can focus our decision making on staying inside our box, staying really focused on the things that matter. Do I need to win this hill? Not as much as I need to stay on top of my nutrition program. Do I need to chase that other person who seems to be in my age group? Not as much as I need to check my heart rate and make sure that I'm staying in the zones that predicate good performance for me, right? Do I need to be super serious right now and grind it out? No, I can have fun right now because the grinding part is coming. You do not need to work harder to accelerate the difficulty part of the race to you. That hard part's going to be out there. Do your thing. Be a diesel engine. Get out there, do your diesel stuff. The race will come to you, and eventually your ability to continue doing that work will separate you from the people who are no longer able to do that work. So instead of spending time stressing about the weather or freaking out about how you're going to unleash this inner power that you have yet to discover that's going to separate you from the competition and have a fantastic race, instead be boring. Focus on the basics. Know what makes you tick. Know what makes you tick longer. Get that dialed in and be really, really smart. So when things do get tough, you can really get racing. Now, one thing is out there, right? Because part of you is saying, okay, well, things get tough. Well, things get tough. Isn't it going to be hard? Is it going to be worse than I was already doing? Well, of course, yes. When things get hard, regardless of the speed at which you're traveling, they're hard. And you can't really differentiate between my version of hard and your version of hard. It's just hard to do, right? Doesn't matter how long it took you to get there. It's a tough spot to be. Well, first, we can take comfort in knowing that you got there on your own terms and you did it the right way. So you are set up nutritionally, from a mental perspective, from a fitness perspective, to be able to keep going. You have the capacity to do it. You've proven it in training, and you've also shown your responsibility at the controls by arriving at this place on your terms. The second piece is to understand that we can prepare ahead of time by having key arguments already prepared. So when our body and our brain conspire to create stories and reasons why we should absolutely stop despite everything else, we need to have clear answers as to why we are not going to stop. And you form those answers now. So sometimes it can be, you're racing for a cause. You are going to take a specific strategy. You are going to, that's where you actually pick it up. As an example, I'll give you a quick anecdotal story. So in the past, when I was racing Ironmans, I noticed that I had real trouble in the last 6 miles in terms of like stopping and continuing to push forward. So what I started doing was saying, okay, well, I know the last mile or mile and a half is kind of free because I'm so close to the finish that I run hard anyway. So I don't need to worry about those miles. That's off the table. I just have to get to mile 24.7, right? Great. Okay. So now I've got to get from the place on the course, which is the line, into a mile 24.7. But I want to eliminate all the walking. And I usually walk at aid stations, and every aid station I walk longer and longer. So how do I not walk at aid stations? Well, I created spaces on the course where I gave myself permission to walk. I could walk up to 30 or 60 seconds if I wanted to. The catch? There's no aid station there. I would only let myself walk where there wasn't an aid station. So I got my walk time in. I could look forward to my walk time, but I wasn't lured into spending time at more aid stations. If I use aid stations as my walking cue, then there's 26 reasons to walk on race day, which is terrible. So I took the mental trigger for walking on aid stations out of the equation, but gave myself permission to walk. I also reduced out the time at the end that I had to plan for because I knew things would get better. And then I would draw my own personal line. In this case, this is Ironman Arizona 2019. I drew a line on the course where I knew it was mile 20, and that was my go time. At mile 20, I was going to start working and picking things off. It just so turns out that fate intervened and gave me an athlete who I've been chasing all day. We were able to go back and forth and get into a race situation dynamically that gave me the energy to continue running and run faster. Of course, I found out less than a mile from the finish line that I was close to being in first place and I had to run my heart out, which unfortunately I'd already been doing, but I was able to pick it up, and I wouldn't have been in that position if I hadn't already taken the steps to solve for those issues, to offset the cost that was going to be coming by not being prepared for the race. So take a moment, settle down, outline your race, draw the line, understand what you're going to do to get to that line, and then have the answers for how you're going to deal with the challenges that you know are going to arise on the second half. Literally, ask yourself, what is going to be the problem? Or another version, what has been my problem in the past and how do I solve for it now? Get those pieces of the puzzle ready now because they're not mysterious. You've been there before, or your friends have, or your training partners have, or you can read about it online. Solve for those issues, put those into place, and then you go out there and you get to have a fantastic race. I'm super excited for everyone to race this weekend. And of course, every weekend inside Endurance Nation, we are sport agnostic, but athlete friendly. We hope to see you inside the team at some point soon. If you're interested in learning more about us, go to endurancestation.us. You can see our free resources. You can even apply at endurancestation.us/join. I'll talk to you soon, folks. Have a great weekend of racing.
Endurance Nation.
Did you know that we hold training camps every year? And not just ordinary training camps, but training camps internationally as well. This week, I want to talk to you about our Mallorca training camp. We are going into our 7th year of hosting camps in Mallorca, a spring journey, a sojourn in April of teammates new and teammates to be who come together to enjoy this magical island, the home of cycling in Europe. This is your chance to join us for a guided tour. We base ourselves out of Port Paenza. It's a fantastic environment. We have a great guiding crew. There's different levels based on different abilities, so there's no pressure for you to ride faster than you want. We have 5 or up to 7 days, depending which option you choose, of incredible cycling options. We're at the base of the Tramontana Mountains, so you can go left to stay flat, or you can go right to go up, or you can do some combination thereof. Enjoy some incredible Spanish cuisine, Spanish wine, great friends, and a good time by checking out our Mallorca camp. All of our camps, including the Mallorca camp, live online at Mile 18. You can find them at www.mile18inc.com. That's mile18inc.com.
For more information about Endurance Nation, visit us online at endurancenation.us. The provided music is from the Podshow Podsafe Music Network. Check it out at music.podshow.com.